Elon Musk. Elon.
Do the jump. Do the jump, Elon. Yay! Do it. Do the jump.
What a job. What a job he does.
What a jump.
And he happens to be a really good guy. You know, he likes this place. I can't get him out of here. He just likes this place.
Oh, my
And you know what? I
God.
like having him here, too. He's good. He's done a fantastic job. Really an incredible mind, and he's unbelievable.
Just a reminder that as far as I can remember, Donald Trump has never made comments to the effect of like, wow, this guy won't leave, about anyone in his inner circle. So the fact that it's taken him like a week and a half to start doing this at every possible opportunity with Elon Musk is incredibly funny.
Oh, there we go. Here he is, everybody.
Milei became the first foreign leader to visit President-elect Donald Trump since victory. What an honor. Forbes breaking news. The fascist YouTube channel.
Good night, everybody. I'm very grateful for stay here. I am feeling blessing. I will do my speech in Spanish, but I have a very big, very good interpreter. And then, sorry, but I will speak in Spanish.
At least he knows his audience. He knows that to this crowd you have to apologize before speaking a different language.
Todos mis discursos comienzan con hola a todos. Hello, everybody.
Speeches start with hello, everyone.
This is going to be agonizing to listen to.
Muchas gracias. Gracias por hacerme parte de este evento tan importante y por permitirme hablar aquí entre ustedes que son unos verdaderos gigantes.
Thank you. Thank you
I'm
for...
sorry, he's my president. I can't take this. Genial, does it make you happy to see, like, maybe you felt a little bit humiliated at the state of your country? Does it make you feel good to see now that we're joining you in the shit pit? Like before you were like, oh, no one can understand my pain. And pretty soon in America, we will understand your pain. Yeah, it facilitates empathy. We're brothers in harm.
allowing me to be part of this major event and for giving me the opportunity to speak here among all of you, you who are true giants.
Quiero comenzar primero felicitando al presidente electo Donald Trump por su contundente victoria.
First, I would like to begin by congratulating President-elect Donald Trump on his resounding victory.
Por la remontada política más grande de la historia, enfrentando a todo el establishment
The
político.
Canadian Union of Postal Workers has gone on strike today. Here's hoping it doesn't get immediately broken. It's going to get immediately broken. I'm sorry, not to be a cynic or anything. It's just, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 137 times in a row, shame on me, right? Yeah, Trudeau loves that shit. The only thing Trudeau loves more than, you know, breaking up strikes in blackface is getting swept by the conservatives in the upcoming election. I don't care about listening to this translated. Takes so much longer to deliver the same amount of information. What about Trump's speech?
Wow. Well, thank you, Sly. You know, Sly does not do that. He doesn't do that stuff. And he did a beautiful job, and I want to thank you and John Voight for being here. John, the great fight movies, I think Sly has a lot of them. John has The Champ. What a movie that was, right? But I want to thank everybody for being here. You know, when Mrs. Post and E.F. Hutton, her husband at the time, when they built Mar-a-Lago many years ago, the Roaring 20s, it was...
Does his outfit eat or not? Good Lord, look at those shoulder pads. It's a dinner jacket. It's a black tie event.
The Roaring 20s, and we're hotter right now than they ever were in the Roaring 20s, I believe. But we're going to be a lot hotter, but we're going to keep it going. We're not going to have 1929 happen. Although, if...
Guys, it's prophetic. We're here in our dinner jackets as the Roaring 20s. Don't worry! We're not about to get another Great Depression. Now watch me kickflip these tariffs.
Have continued the way it was, it might not have been too good. But when they built it, nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew opulence. Nobody knew real luxury. Nobody knew poverty. They didn't know anything. And they learned a hard lesson. In 1929, they learned a very, very hard lesson. And we're going to turn our country around. We're going to make it so great, so strong, so powerful. We're going to bring it all back.
What was the lesson
I want
they
to
learned?
thank some people that have been so instrumental in doing such a great job in terms of not only policy, but people, and people love them. Brooke Rollins, who put this on with Linda McMahon. Linda has been a great friend of mine for a long time, right, Linda? I want to thank you very much. And the America First Policy Institute, what a job they've done. But I said, you know, the policy is much more important if we do it for 8 years than it is if we do it for 4 years. So I said, let's do this. Don't worry about your policy. Let's get out and let's win the election. But nobody knew we were going to win it the way we wanted. That was a big one. So that was really great. And Javier, I'd like to congratulate you on the job you've done for Argentina. Your speech was beautiful, but the job you've done is incredible. Make Argentina great again. You know,
It's going great over there. It's going fantastically over there, actually.
And you know, he's doing that. He's actually doing that. Just happens to work with EA. That one we don't have to worry about. It doesn't work so well with other countries, but you know what? I think your numbers are working also. You've done a fantastic job in a very short period of time. It's an honor to have you here. That's really great. Thank you. Also, Speaker Mike Johnson, wherever you may be, Mike, in this very big and crowded room. Thank you, Mike. I went yesterday, just in case, I said, look, I want to tell you, I'm behind this man 100%, and he got 100% of the vote from Republicans. Are you sure? You sure, huh? No, he's doing a great job. Nothing easy. We actually had one little period, about 4 weeks, where we had a majority of one. That was not pretty, right? And you handled it beautifully. He just kept that stiff upper lip, but he's doing a really good job. And that was a great vote you got yesterday. Totally unanimous vote. Congratulations, Mike. That's beautiful.
To be fair to Milei, even though he doesn't deserve it, the poverty rate was already nearing 50% when he got into office. Well, it was rising, yeah, but since then, like, the inflationary period has ended. Inflation has been reduced, but now they're suffering from something which is arguably even worse, which is economic crisis without the inflation. Like, normally you have these like concurrent forces, but what we're seeing right now is that as a consequence of like the devaluing of the Argentinian peso and you know, the domestic policies that have through austerity have cut like welfare and so on, like people are miserable even though they've ended that period, which is kind of crazy. Like, it takes some really incompetent governance to manage to prolong an economic crisis even after the inflation has been dealt with. How big is Argentine inflation, actually? Well, right now, I don't know what it's at exactly. It peaked at around 200%, like, year over year, but it's down now month to month. Yeah, right now, it's down to 2.7, which is pretty darn low. And it's like, wow, really? 2.7? What did he do to do that? Well, he collapsed the economy and devalued the peso relative to the dollar, thus guaranteeing that literally no one in Argentina can afford to buy anything from the United States or, in fact, from the world, because the US dollar is the global reserve currency. So if you devalue your currency relative to the dollar, it's bad. So is US inflation 2.3%? Well, US inflation is 2.3% yearly, if you average it out. This is 2.7%. Wait, is this monthly inflation or yearly inflation evaluated month by month? Hold on, wait. On an annual basis, inflation in October was 193% compared to 209% reported in September. Took office, monthly inflation search. Okay. Yeah. Let me bust out the chart. Okay, yeah, it's still pretty damn bad. Reuters. Deal with the low-res image. Argentina's inflation rate is one of the highest in the world, with the annual figure nearing 300%. The monthly rate, while still painfully high, though, has slowed down from a peak in December. So if you look over the past year, the inflation is still very, very, very high. But if you're only looking at it on a month-by-month basis, the inflation is still very high. Yeah, Argentina's inflation is still much worse than the United States. Okay, there, just clarifying.
Members of Congress, all of whom voted for Mike, and they've been my friends. It's just a small group, but we have a lot of them outside, and we have a lot of them coming over the weekend. Byron Donalds, a star. Where's Byron? Byron. What a star. What a star. Thank you, Byron. Ronnie Jackson, Doc Ronnie, he's been a lot of things. He was my doctor. He was a great admiral, highly respected admiral, great doctor at the White House, and now he's a very popular congressman. He won by 48 points. That's pretty good. Of course, it was a very, very Trumpy district, but he won by 48 points. But when he was a doctor, they asked him the question, the fake news, which is here. Look, oh, that's a lot. That's a lot. We invited him, and they said, can we come in? I said, we have nothing to hide as Republicans, right? We have nothing to hide. But they asked Ronnie, they asked the doctor, he was up in the podium, who's the healthiest? Because he was the doctor for Barack Hussein Obama, Donald Trump, and he was the doctor for Bush also. They said, who's the healthiest of them all? He said, without question, it's Donald Trump. And I said, I like that guy. I said, I like that guy.
If we could just get 4 years of this, of Donald Trump insisting that he's physically healthier than Barack Obama was at the start of his first term, that would be great. If we could just dedicate as much time as possible to this and as little time as possible to anything legislative, I think that would be really good. Yeah, I want 4 years of yapping, ideally.
And he's doing great. Jason Smith is here, a great, great congressman. Wesley Hunt, wow. And Mike Waltz, who's going to be doing a little other work for us in the very near future. We just nominated him, and he's going to be doing a great job in the administration. And,
do you not remember
I promised Mike
what
that I
you
wouldn't be
hired
taking
him
too
for?
many more before we start counting the votes, okay? He said, please, could you slow down a little bit? I just like the people in Congress, Mike. I'm sorry. But no, don't worry about it, Mike. Just relax. Just relax. We have a man who has a seriously high IQ. I'm a person that believes in high IQs, and his is about as high as they get. He launched a rocket 3 weeks ago, and then he went to Pennsylvania to campaign because he considered this more important than launching rockets that cost billions of dollars. Elon Musk. Elon.
Do the jump. Do the jump, Elon. Yay! Do it. Do the jump.
What a job. What a job he does.
What a jump.
And he happens to be a really good guy. He likes this place. I can't get him out of here. He just likes this place.
Oh, my God.
I like having him here, too. He's good. He's done a fantastic job. Really an incredible mind, and he's unbelievable.
Just a reminder that as far as I can remember, Donald Trump has never made comments to the effect of like, wow, this guy won't leave, about anyone in his inner circle. So the fact that it's taken him like a week and a half to start doing this at every possible opportunity with Elon Musk is incredibly funny.
Entrepreneur, sort of everything. I'm asking him, what do you do best? And we were not able to figure it out, but it's a lot of things.
Oh, my God.
Another one who's another great mind and a great guy and so popular.
Oh, my God.
I think he's right. He wants to make people healthy. It's driven him pretty wild over the last number of years. And the Democrats didn't treat him well. He was doing fantastically well. And I think they came out with some rule that you had to do this, Mike. You had to get 70 or 75% of the vote to qualify to be in the primary. That was a pretty tough thing to get. And he was doing incredibly well, and he decided he can't do it, went independent. Now he's with us all the way. And today I nominated him for, I guess, if you like health and if you like people that live a long time, it's the most important position, RFK Jr. Bobby?
Yeah! The good news is we won't have to deal with this administration because as soon as RFK Jr. heads the Department of Health and Human Services and mandates bleach vaccines for everyone, we won't have to worry about anything anymore. You got student loans left unpaid? Don't worry about it, man. You're getting a ticket to the next life real soon. Let's go! Release from the mortal coil? Yay! Doing a little X jump. Freedom!
And I just looked at the news reports. People like you, Bobby. Don't get too popular, Bobby. Oh. You've reached about the level Now, we want you to come up with things and ideas and what you've been talking about for a long time, and I think you're going to do some unbelievable thing. Nobody's going to be able to do it like you, and boy, does he feel it in his heart. So congratulations.
He's so insecure, God. I think he was making an assassination joke because his dad and uncle were both assassinated. So, yeah.
Also to your family.
Pretty good bit, you know? Again, if Donald Trump could just yap.
A woman who was a Democrat and was an independent, she went independent.
Oh, I know this
and
one.
Last week she said, I want to be a Republican because this is what I stand for. And I've always admired her, and I've admired her because she was loaded up with common sense. And it's all about common sense. I mean, we're conservative in this room, but we can understand the other side. But what we really are is people with common sense. And I think that's why we won with the numbers that we won by. Tulsi Gabbard. Thank you, Tulsi. Great common sense. And you have Vivek Ramaswamy. It's taken people a long time, and now that name is emblazoned into their brain. But Vivek, wherever you may be, where are you, Vivek? Thank you, Vivek. Good. He's working with Elon on efficiency. They're working on efficiency, among other things, and they're going to be saving a lot of money and making our country stronger and better. And they'll be coming out with individual reports, but a big one toward the end.
He's exactly that. He's pointing over at the kids' table, you know, over there at DOGE, the non-governmental agency that has two heads. Goddamn, he's still funny. Yeah, he's still got the sauce, at least in this environment. I think that Donald Trump sounds his most tired and boring when he's being hateful. When he's just riffing, he's still pretty damn funny. It really helps you remember why Kamala Harris lost, you know? Not an authentic bone in her body. Can't riff, can't nothing. Sauceless.
And you put those two together, it's going to be really great. So we look forward to seeing it, working with Elon, and that'll be a great experience. You're going to learn something from Elon, I think, right? It's going to be great. Thank you very much, Vivek. And great job. What you've done is fantastic. And somebody that I've admired for a long time, but I've really gotten to know him in my political life, but especially, I think, over the last
Hulk Hogan?
year, more than maybe ever before, maybe more
Hulk
than
Hogan?
even in the first 4 years, because we had a tremendous success to my first term, and then bad things happened, and we had to wait. I couldn't wait. I was saying, they're not going to do it. They're not going to help us. They're not going to save this country. And it really dawned on me about 10 days out. I said, wait a minute, with 10 days, I waited 4 years, 3 years, 2 years. All of a sudden, it's 10 days, and then every day seems so long. But I knew by the crowds we were getting, it was going to be really something.
Spit it out already.
Newt Gingrich got up, and he said, this is a very special thing that's happening, because nobody has ever had crowds, and they just wanted hope. They wanted something. They just didn't want what they had. And nobody expressed it more beautifully than Newt Gingrich. And thank you, Newt, very much. It was really beautiful.
All
and
of
Callista,
that for
thank you very
Newt
much.
Gingrich?
Thank you, Callista.
That was the payoff?
But the American people have just delivered really something
That
very amazing. The biggest political victory in 129 years. Can you believe that, Newt? 120. They said the most consequential election. I love that word. It's a beautiful word. Most consequential election in the last 129 years. Wow, that's something. So we swept all swing states. We won the popular vote. Oh, I love that. You know, in the last one,
that's not even too. Reagan won by bigger margins. You're telling me Donald Trump would lie or exaggerate about his own victory margins?
My first term, they said he won the election, but they always followed by he didn't win the popular vote. That's what they say. I don't even know is it true or not. Who knows? But they would say he didn't win the popular vote, and we won the popular vote by records now. So nobody can say that anymore about us. Nobody can say that because we won the popular vote. And I didn't win it. The people won it. The great people of our country won the popular vote, and that's what they wanted. And this was something really special. won the White House, recaptured the Senate, and now, as of today, recaptured the House. Thank you very much, Congressman.
That's true, Ringette. Now might be your last chance to like and subscribe before they make it illegal.
Looks like we have it. The largest margin in the national vote in presidential year since 1928. That's a long time ago. Well, that's interesting. That's when this House was built, 1928. It took a lot of years, but that was when it was completed. And something that I just read here, and I saw from one of our friends from the news, from the media, we won, I didn't know this, we won 49 out of 50 states, shifted toward the GOP significantly. That's a big number. So we won the largest share of black and Hispanic votes of any Republican in the history of our country, recorded history of our country. So we want to think of that.
I don't think that's true with black votes. Well, obviously not. There was a party shift in the 60s. Since the 1960s, I still don't think that's true with black votes. That is true with Latin votes. Definitely. Dude, I have seen so many news reports to the effect of like, you saw the classic one, right? Where there were the undocumented migrants in line, like waiting for the refugee status application or whatever, or they were waiting for their court appointment to be set. And they were asked, and one woman said, yeah, we're which is true. And then some of the people in line said they would have voted for Trump because they thought Trump wouldn't deport them. Trump would only deport criminals. It's crazy. It's pretty jokerifying. It's true. You want to play? Big boy?
Make America great again.
Donald Trump didn't just rely on the vote that got him into the White House the first time. He expanded it, and a big push came from Latino men. NBC News exit polls show 55% of Latino men backed Trump nationwide. Ooh. In 2020, it was just 36%.
First of all, Hispanics love Trump. They do.
There are some striking examples, like Starr County, Texas, the most Hispanic county in the country. Trump won there by nearly 16 points. It had gone Democratic.
Hold on, I got a better one.
President-elect Trump made official what CNN has been reporting for several days, namely that Stephen Miller will join Tom Homan in taking the lead on the issue in the new administration.
Right.
U.S. citizens.
President-elect.
Look at this.
How many of you are U.S. citizens? How many of you support Donald Trump? You're undocumented and you support Donald Trump.
I support Donald Trump for the economy.
Two Hispanic families with mixed legal status in Houston with two different takes on President-elect Donald Trump's return to the White House.
One thing that people on the left have had a difficult time understanding is that people don't necessarily vote in the interest of the blocs that they belong to. Like, obviously, how often do poor people vote for Republicans? You know? For a lot of undocumented Latin people, they come up here to America and then they're outside, they're like out the front of Home Depot looking for a job, you know, and like 2 decades ago, it was just like Mexican guys out there with a white truck. And now there are Latin and Central American, like from every fucking country spread out all over there. They don't get along with each other. Like, do you think that a person from Colombia, Venezuela, El Salvador, Haiti, and Mexico are all going to get along just because they're because they're all like southeast-ish of the United States? Probably not. In fact, they often have stronger regional disagreements with one another than we have with them. Much in the same way that, like, as an American, most Americans can't tell the difference between people who are from different Balkan states. Like, they couldn't tell the difference between a Serb and Albanian. But then, like, you know, we're like, why are these Serbian Albanian immigrants fighting with each other? They're all like, you know, they're all like Russians, basically. And meanwhile, they're tearing each other's throats out. One of the big pulls for a lot of the undocumented immigrants who support Trump is that they don't like more undocumented immigrants coming in and taking their work. Because undocumented immigrants, or I guess immigrants in general, are the only group whose wages are negatively impacted by new immigration. So if people come up here from Mexico, they're not reducing your wages. They are reducing each other's wages because they're all brought into basically like the same economic bloc. They have the same job opportunities, more or less. So they're fighting with each other, you know? I'm not competing with a guy who walked up here from Venezuela for a job, you know, but a guy who walked up here from Colombia might be.
This is the Espinosa's first gathering since Trump's win.
How many of you fear that deportation could impact your family?
Cesar Espinosa, a husband and father, was a DACA recipient until this summer when he got a green card.
Nice.
His sister and brother-in-law are DACA recipients. His
Very
sister-in-law
unnerving
is a
camera
green
lens
card
we're
holder,
using for this.
and the rest of his family here are U.S. citizens.
Looks like a 1990s
Some who are not
sitcom
present
intro.
are undocumented.
You're a green card holder. Your wife is a U.S. citizen. Why are you afraid of deportation?
I just became a green card holder after 33 years of being in this country. I don't think people understand the fear. It's a constant shadow hanging over our heads.
What was your reaction to Donald Trump winning?
I cried a lot. It was emotional.
33 years for a green card, not even for a citizenship.
They're going to be here or they're not going to be here. And how do you tell all of our kids? Like my nephews, they're also our kids.
To tell people that this doesn't live in kids and children's mind and teenagers and young adults' life is a lie.
Gelasio Velasquez is an undocumented mechanic who has worked in Houston for 25 years. He plays in this park with his two U.S. citizen children, ages 5 and 9, and stands by Donald Trump.
That's pretty true.
You support Donald Trump because of the economy.
For the economy, yes.
But you don't support the anti-immigrant rhetoric.
I'm not support the anti-immigrant action.
Do you support his mass deportations?
No, it's not human.
Are you afraid that you could be deported in this mass deportation?
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid.
That's cool,
Espinosa runs a migrant advocacy group and says many people are afraid and have called him in tears.
I think there's a heightened sense of fear.
Explain why Latino men are going to Trump.
Democrats forget the promise when these guys are in the office in the Washington. The Latinos wanna.
Can I be real? I think we're dedicating too much attention to calling people retarded if they're undocumented and they support Trump. What about all the women who voted for Trump? Like, I'm just saying we should spread it out fairly. Unless you're a cisgender white male making over $400,000 a year, you're objectively being harmed by this administration. And even then, you probably are too. So basically, I'm the only person here who can support Trump, and it would be a legitimate decision. But the rest of you, like, it's, you know, I'm just saying maybe be a little more misogynistic.
A better nation.
Espinosa believes some of the Latino support for Trump was a vote against the prospect
You are
of the
gay,
first
though?
black
Yeah, but
female
Trump's pretty
president.
gay, too, so.
There's still a lot of machismo. There's still a lot of misogyny. And something that we need to say aloud is there's a lot of anti-blackness.
Velasquez says he hopes Trump finds compassion for immigrant fathers like him who are not criminals.
If you get deported, would you regret your support to Donald Trump?
No me arrepentiría.
He's saying that he wouldn't regret supporting Donald Trump. So you're really not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about your children and the future of your children.
Yes, I want the better for my children.
Cesar says
the border czar that Donald Trump appointed on day one after the win literally said, like, even before the Trump won, he was saying in a 60 Minutes interview that he would denaturalize the children of undocumented immigrants and ship the entire families back home. Your kids are getting sent with you, man.
He feels guilty for bringing so much uncertainty to his family.
What's it like for you to see your wife go through this and the emotions that she's going through?
I apologize to her a lot. But we fell in love right away. And we got married almost right away.
I think the point's been made, though.
You know.
Like the point of the video. So I'll go back to the speech. The earliest deportations that we will see will be of criminals. Because you start with the easy ones, much in the same way that the first people that Hitler went after, well, he went after trade unionists and communists and so forth, but the very first people he went after were the militant ones, you know? Militant, Soviet-backed communists. So the you know, the police could say, look at this dangerous bust that we did. Look at these dangerous communists. They had guns, they had ammunition, they had food stockpiled. We don't want these people here anyway. We'll send them to the camps, you know? And then slowly over time, you publicize what you're doing less, and you go after a wider range of targets. You start with the thin edge of the thin end of the wedge, right? Like, we're going to be seeing news reports like, breaking news, this one single criminal from Venezuela has been apprehended and he is going to be sent back home where he belongs. And it's like, that's been happening every day for decades. That's normal. It's a big country. People get arrested. People, they sometimes get deported. This has all been happening. Millions of people were turned away under Joe Biden's single term. But they're going to publicize the hell out of it. And then over time, they'll get quieter, but the numbers are going to ramp up. Does that make sense? They're not going to publicize when they go after like a restaurant bust and they arrest like 400 just regular dudes who are undocumented as loudly. And then after that, when they're going like door to door, they're not going to publicize that at all.
We won the largest share of black and Hispanic voters. That's so incredible. They're unbelievable people. We respect them. We admire them. They've been through a lot. And they like us. And it wasn't easy.
What's even the point of this speech from Trump? He's just circle jerking so far. Me, when I've never once seen a speech from Trump in my entire life, despite being a fan of a person who covers a lot of Trump speeches.
It wasn't easy, but if you take a look at the border of Texas, the governor called me, Greg Abbott, who's a great guy, called me up. He said, you won every single town on the border, and these towns were always blue. They were a dark, strong blue, and we won every single town up and down the border in Texas. We won with married women. What about unmarried women? What happened to unmarried women? We won with married women. We won half of all ages. Think of that. More than 50% of the 18 to 29-year-olds, the highest in many decades, the highest number.
It's not good.
And again, it really has to do with common sense. You know, people don't want men playing in women's sports, right? They don't want it. They don't want it. You know, I said that during the last few weeks, I was very heavy on the common sense things. Like they want a border. They want people to come into our country. They do. They don't want to.
Don't forget that in 2019, around 700 undocumented workers were rounded up by ICE at a chicken processing plant, and the owners faced no consequences. Okay, I'm kind of speculating a little bit here, but I think one of the main reasons we're not going to see as many deportations as you might expect is because they're going to rely on fear rather than the actual deportations. Deportations are incredibly expensive, processing is expensive, and the economy would be ruined if all these people were kicked out. So what you do is you publicize heavily the deportation of about 250,000 to 500,000 people, and then for the rest of them for whom fear has been struck into their hearts, now they're going to be essentially good little PogChamps. And by good little PogChamps, I mean slaves. The deals will be struck with people who work at meat processing, agricultural facilities, basically every industry that employs lots and lots of undocumented people, and they're basically going to say to their workers, hey, guess what happens if you step out of line, if you object to us not paying you, if you object to us underpaying you, if you're abused or sexually assaulted on the workplace, guess what happens if you speak up about this? Because ICE can be here like that, no time at all. They're essentially going, and this has been going on for a long time, by the way. This is not new. This is not a new practice. This method has been implemented for decades, but it's going to get a lot worse. It's going to get like a lot worse. It's basically like, it's just another way of making rich people more money. It's just that, man. It always comes back to that. It always comes right back down to that. I don't think they're going to engage in deportations to the extent that it collapses the economy, because it just makes more sense for them to use the fear of deportation to essentially create a slave caste in the United States. And to anyone who thinks that's anything else, that's a slave caste. That's what you're describing right there, 100%. Yeah, that's absolutely what you've created. You've done effectively the same thing that the UAE does with like Indian migrants, or not migrants, sorry, work migrants? Working? Something. What's the term? What am I blanking on right now? People who are coming on work visas, then they have their passport stolen. Guest workers? Yeah, that might be the right term. Kind of migrant workers. Why was I blanking on that? I don't know. Anyway.
Have exclusion, but they want to come in legally through a system. They don't want them coming in through prisons and through where you dump a prison from countries all over the world, dumping prisons into our country. The prisoners dumped into our country by the millions. They don't want that. They don't want all of the kind of things that they don't want drug dealers. They don't want gang members. They don't want people that are causing trouble. They don't want people that the country doesn't want. And they had I would say a truth, Elon would say an X, but it came out and it had 12 different things, and it went down a list of things, and part of it was that the cartels were bringing in drugs. They don't want them. It's stopping you. Wait till you see.
So Vosh is saying they won't do what they said they will because they're now interested in economic consequences and are competent at governing. Press X to doubt. I said no such thing. I'm only describing like something that is much more likely than a logistically impossible task that would be objectively ruinous to everyone, including to wealthy people. You know, I'm not saying that Republicans or that Trump are always rational. I'm saying that it just makes more sense. And I'm only making a prediction for what is or isn't likely. I'm not saying for sure whether or not, you know, whether or not that's going to be the actual runabout. Hasn't stopped fascists before? Yeah, but you realize that past a point you're engaging in like nonsense analysis, right? Fascists aren't rational can be used to explain any predicted behavior you want. Maybe Donald Trump will, I don't know, butterfly leap from the top floor of the White House. Maybe he'll deschedule marijuana and actually be a communist. I don't know. Like, yeah, fascists aren't rational. Like, come on. You can still try to engage with likelihoods, even if, because I know anytime I say anything and I'll be like, oh, well, what makes most sense? People will be like, well, fascism doesn't make sense. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's random. Fascists aren't like making decisions based on like RNG, you know? Much in the same way, shareholders and CEOs will often make decisions that ruin their company in the long term, that don't make sense in accordance with the logic of the market, but they're doing it for a short-term gain. You can predict irrational behavior based on like an underlying set of principles.
When you see the numbers that are going to be released, in 2 days, things happen to our country. This is 2 days as of 3 days ago, but things are happening to our country that we didn't see happening for years. The caravans on the way up, 35,000 people, they're breaking up.
Yeah.
They're breaking up. They're not making the journey. And we had 3 or 4 of the highest, I guess, almost.
Then what's the difference between American racism and German anti-Semitism in the 1940s, Vosh? Sometimes you have to do a bit of research yourself. Okay, so what exactly are the differences between these 2 different countries, groups, time periods, ideologies, and sets of material circumstances? You have past a point. Look, I cover as much as I can, okay? I already stream 12 hours a day. Give me a bit of leeway, I beg of you, please, God.
Every single day we set new records in the stock market. We set new records economically. We're doing it. Now, the only thing is, Mr. Speaker, I think it's important. Maybe you should pass a bill. You have to start my term from November 5th, okay? Or November 6th if you want.
What?
November 5th. Because the market's gone through the roof. Enthusiasm's doubled. It's doubled in the last...
he wants to take credit for the market boom after the election victory.
Short while. And I watched a liberal commentator say, you know, whether you like him or not, there seems to be a beautiful light shining over our country and even over the world. I said, this guy didn't say that. But we have to defeat inflation, and while inflation's down, the costs are way too high. And when I went around, I heard something that was very interesting, the word grocery. It's sort of such a strange and simple, nice word. You know, I'm going out for groceries today.
You know what? I'm going to let you babysit him
They
for a
talked
second.
about
I
that
need
more
to get
than
a thing
any
for a
other
cat. I have to
item.
open a door.
The groceries are too high. And when you think about it, that's a very bad thing. And I talked about that a lot in the last couple of weeks, and it resonated. I tell a story about a woman. She got 3 apples, an old woman. She had 3 apples, and she brought them up to the cash register, and she looked at the woman, and she said, is that the right price? And the woman said, yes, ma'am, I'm sorry. Yes, it is. And she said, oh, that's okay. Could you wait 1 minute? And she took one of the 3 apples, and she brought it back to the refrigeration, and she came back gently up to the cash register, and she paid for 2 apples instead of 3. That should not be happening in our country. That should not be happening here. It's not going to happen here. We're going to make it a much different place. We're going to slash energy costs. We're going to get your energy bills in half, and that's going to bring down the costs, generally speaking. And we're going to...
When everyone leaves at the family party and you're stuck talking to Gramps. Ooh, I get that.
have a whole new.
Talking about apples?
We have a big announcement, and I won't tell you the name of his the exact name. I think he's an incredible person. Got an unbelievably wonderful wife named Catherine. So I won't tell you his name. It might be something like Burgum. He's from North Dakota. He's going to be announced tomorrow for a very big position. So everybody's waiting. There he is. Hi, Doug. He's going to be announced tomorrow, and we have somebody else that's probably coming up with him to be announced, who's a big one. And we're going to do things with energy and with land, interior, that is going to be incredible. And so I look forward to doing the formal announcement.
Right, he's going to build new cities. That's the... He's going to requisition federal land to build new cities, even though large swaths of land... What land? What? There's a lot of unused land in the United States, but it's unused for a reason. Freedom cities.
Although this is a pretty big announcement right now. Actually, he's going to head the Department of Interior, and he's going to be fantastic. Good, Doug. Congratulations, Catherine. But we'll make the formal announcement tomorrow. All right? We're going to reduce regulation, waste, fraud, and inefficiency, and these two guys are going to find a lot of it. We're going to clean out the corrupt, broken, and failing bureaucracies, and that's what we're going to be doing. And we're going to stop child sexual mutilation. We're going to stop it because it's time.
He's banning circumcision.
It's time. It's time, and it's not right what's going on. People are... It is mutilation, and it's not going to happen. We have to stop it. We have to get back to a great country with low taxes and strong military. We're going to fix our military. We did it once. Now we're going to have to do it again. We didn't know a big chunk of it was going to be given to Afghanistan. We're going to work on Middle East, and we're going to work very hard on Russia and Ukraine. It's got to stop. Russia and Ukraine's got to stop. Thousands and thousands, I saw a report today, thousands of people over the last 3 days were killed. Thousands and thousands of people were killed. They happen to be soldiers, but whether they're soldiers...
He's going to drop funding immediately. Do you think, what he's probably going to do, what the administration is probably going to do, is they're going to take Zelensky aside and they're going to say, we're going to drop funding and you have no way of winning this war without us. Concede on Putin's terms basically like now, so that we can get a foreign policy win. And then they'll frame it as Trump immediately ended the Russian-Ukraine war as soon as he entered office. I mean, the same thing is happening right now, maybe with Lebanon. Israel is pushing for some kind of like cessation of hostilities with Lebanon, apparently. I don't know if it's going to actually go through because they're insane, but that would cause a civil war. Yeah, but he would just blame Ukraine for that. I don't know if Zelensky would take that deal. Well, I hope he doesn't, but that's probably what they're going to try to do. Oh, dude, the Netanyahu Lebanon thing is insane. Where they're literally like framing it as a gift to Trump. Netanyahu plans a big gift for Trump 2 months from now. Israel is reportedly preparing a win for Donald Trump in Lebanon, but only when he takes office in January. What if it's not peace? What if he takes office and they immediately drop a nuke on Beirut? This is what you wanted, right? And Dems will still praise Netanyahu? Yeah, AIPAC's terrifying. Did you see Zelensky sucking up to Trump? Do you think that'll work? I mean, what else is he supposed to do, right? Aren't there a lot of anti-Russia neocons in Trump's cabinet? There's more influence there than you would think, but, you know, Rubio's influence is more with Latin America. I don't know. Did you know they cut Milei off in the middle of a speech because it got too boring? Really? That rules. Ukraine might be making a nuke? Nah. Ukraine could develop a rudimentary nuclear bomb within months if Donald Trump withdraws U.S. military assistance, according to a briefing paper prepared for the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. The country would quickly be able to build a basic device from plutonium with a similar technology. Wait. According to a briefing paper prepared for the Ukrainian... Who wrote it? Ukraine would have to rely on using plutonium extracted from spent fuel. This is nothing. This is nothing. The logistical and political difficulties associated with this are this. Do you need uranium for a nuke? No, you just have to believe. That would be enough to destroy an entire Russian airbase or concentrated military, industrial, or logistics installations. This is nothing. This is stupid. Why are they even talking about this? This is stupid. Said the report's author, Oleksiy Yizak, head of department at Ukraine's National Institute for Strategic Studies. Okay, it's just a research center, not a politician. All right, stupid. Last month, President Zelensky said he had told Trump that Ukraine would need nuclear weapons to guarantee his country's security if it were prevented from joining NATO, as President Putin had demanded. Zelensky later said he had meant there was no alternative security guarantee. Ukrainian officials since tonight, Kiev is considered nuclear rearmament. Yeah, this doesn't mean anything. Based if true, it probably wouldn't be a good idea. Ukraine has the know-how and infrastructure left over from the USSR days. Everyone has the know-how and they don't have the infrastructure. And also, even if they did, it wouldn't matter.